Hi everyone, welcome back to the IT and Psychology YouTube channel. Today we are going to be continuing with our chapter 6 of psychology, that is psychological disorders for our 12th grade. We have already completed around 3 to 4 parts on this chapter and we have covered different topics that are mental wellness, various disorders or the major disorders that are well known and should have an awareness amongst commoners who do not even study psychology, but it's basics to know such disorders, and such awareness is positive and will help many people. So we had learned about anxiety disorders, depressive disorders, and the two types of anxiety disorders. And we had also studied bipolar disorders and the two types of stress disorders that were ASD and PTSD, acute stress disorder and post-traumatic stress disorder in our previous lecture. And we move forward with our next subunit, that is the 6.6.5, substance related and addictive disorders. So before we start, I would like to tell you that I have made videos on the first 5 chapters, or we have completed the first 5 chapters as of now for psychology, and the first 4 chapters of IT out of the 6 chapters, which have detailed explanation and thorough exercise solutions discussions that we have done in the previous months. You will find the playlist for them in the description. And we are slowly covering the SOPs for our IT subject, as we have completed the first seven or yeah, the first 8 SOPs for our chapter 1, and 7 SOPs will be completed for our chapter 3 advanced JavaScript by day after tomorrow. And we'll move forward to our chapter 5 PHP, or server side scripting as you may. And we'll move forward to how you need to construct your journal. That will be your 5 marks in your examination, practical examination, or your internal examination that will be held in the month of May or after the month of May, as given to us by the board itself. And I'll also make individual videos about how to construct your projects for psychology and how you need to write your journals for IT as well. So we'll move forward and we'll cover up the entire 200 marks that we'll require for our both IT and psychology. So we do not need to worry much about that aspect. But for now, we'll concentrate on our main content, that is for our 80 marks. If you want to learn what is the paper pattern or how much syllabus has been removed from our original 100% syllabus, that is our 25% has been removed. None of it has been removed from our chapter 6, that is psychological disorders. Individual videos have been made on the chapter, sorry, the reduced syllabus, detailed discussion on the reduced syllabus. You'll find the link for that video in the description, and a well explained explanation has been provided with a PDF. And I've also made a Google Drive link, or constructed a Google Drive link, so that you'll just find it in the description as well, where you'll be able to find a few notes given for singular chapters of psychology and the SOPs, where you'll find the .html files, the original files that we construct live in our videos, and you'll be able to practice them in your PC or laptop devices. So now we move forward, and without further ado, we'll start with our subunit 6.6.5, that is substance related and addictive disorders. So first we'll read or we'll go through this example given to us for a detailed explanation of this subunit. So we'll start out by reading it out. This is for an individual by the name of Mohan, who is very addictive to a few substances. Mohan is a 20-year-old postgraduate student. He lives at home with his parents and elder sister, Payal. He feels that everyone in his family pampers Payal and ignores him. First of all, I'm very confused that a student like us, or like you, would be a broader example. You guys are currently 17 years of age in your 12th grade, and you are in your you're about to give your boards. Your bachelor's will be complete about, after 3 to 4 years. How is this person 20 years of age and a postgraduate at the same age where you will be in your second or third year? That is the confusion part of this. But examples have their own explanation. This guy could be more smarter or smarter than any one of us. So he might have progressed and jumped few, what do you call it, classes. So we'll move forward, we'll ignore such aspects. He feels very neglected at home because of that. One day his friend invited him for a party where alcohol was being served. At the party, he consumed alcohol for the first time and liked it. Gradually, he started drinking it regularly, and even after joining work, he continued to drink. Sometimes he would go to work in a drunken state. His performance at work started declining. He couldn't stay without alcohol. This is an indication of addiction, a severe indication of your progressive addiction towards a simple habit that would cover your lifestyle with very bad decisions that he's taking. Like, he's going to his workplace in a drunken state. Everyone would notice. That would soon, if he would argue with someone, it wouldn't be him talking, it would be his alcohol talking. The aggression, people would abhor him for that aspect, and they'll just distance away from him. The workplace will get toxic, and further he'll just destroy his life into chaos. So then we move forward to understanding the content given to us to dissect this topic or understand it much better. Since ancient time, human beings made use of the juice of various herbs as a means to increase strength or enthusiasm to reduce pain or sadness. For example, there is cranberry juice, there is mine that is originally grape juice, and there are much more things. These herbs are also used for experience of euphoria, drowsiness, ecstasy, and the high or kick. So the students who are not able to understand what euphoria or ecstasy means, euphoria is a state of intense happiness, and ecstasy is a feeling of state of great happiness or great enthusiasm to do anything. High or kick, as you might remember for that from that movie, a person who is excited to do something, he's much more enthusiastic than doing other jobs in his normal life. So that is what would be a better definition of kick from the movie Kick. You will get a better understanding of what ecstasy and euphoria would mean. At present, apart from these natural derivatives, there are a number of synthetic chemicals that can be used for the same purpose. Of course, we are moving forward to addictive substances like opium, charas, that is called hashish, ganja, that is marijuana, heroin, etc. For several times. The person gets habituated to it to the extent that he cannot stay without it. This is known as drug addiction. So you will see many minors that are just new to all of this. They'll just flash this out to everyone. And for example, I know an individual who was in school with me in the 10th grade. He used to go to an establishment by the name, it starts with E, a resort. So there he would smoke the various drugs he would attain from a few sources. Again, you could call him a bigda or nawab or a spoiled brat. He used to do that oftenly. His grades start dropping. His attitude towards teachers and parents started dropping. Like, he used to be very ignorant. And once he was just, his allowance was cut down. His reaction was so toxic. You guys would have just stood there in awe to see what was happening. Therefore, you will understand, like, an addiction is not only to drugs or alcohol. There is addiction to sweets. That is, an individual would be called a sweet, having a sweet tooth, or a person who loves to eat. You could call him famished or bhooked in Hindi. So this is what many addictions are. Not all are toxic. Eating too much would cause some digestive issues. Eating too much sweet could reach a level where the person could have diabetes, which shows that a diabetes patient is more susceptible to different infections or viruses, whereas as you would have seen in the news or articles where health articles where individuals that are already suffering from diabetes are more susceptible to have the coronavirus than an individual who is not having diabetes. So there is difference. There are small such diseases which could amplify the rate of or amplify the intensity of a few viruses that are only based on your little details, and whereas if you have any digestive issues, even those could lead, or your breathing issues would amplify the intensity of the virus, etc moves. So we'll now dissect what has been given to us for the symptoms or the things that would follow up after a person is blocked from doing such drugs or things he or she is addicted to. The addict may go to the extent of stealing, begging, or borrowing money, and at times may not hesitate to kill someone to get money to buy the addictive substances. So, you guys could take the example of the movie Sanju, where a person by the name of Sanju, yeah, the name. So, Sanju is to be married to his girlfriend Ruby, but he does something under the influence of drugs or alcohol in front of Ruby's parents, which shows that he is not good enough or his ethics are too bad for being a part of their family. So Ruby is betrothed to someone else. Now he detoxifies himself for a limited time where he shows Ruby that he's worth it, and he is able to, or he shows a few details that make him worthy enough to marry her. But in the end, the Mangal Sutra or the holy pendant that Hindus use to marry someone, or a pendant that is used in ceremonies, wedding ceremonies, he sells that off to attain drugs. So he goes under. That is the worst part. So this is what addiction brings. He's very, after that he gets to know that what was happening, what was bad about it, but he has already lost what he has lost. So what he actually treasured was being with an individual he or she actually adored. So this is what addiction brings a person. It brings the person down to his or her lowest attitude. Whereas I know a few individuals. I know an elderly person. He is very addicted to smoking. He's a very often chain smoker, regular chain smoker, as that would be a correct statement. So if I try to restrict him to go outside, to go and smoke, if I even suggest that this is wrong to do, from if he would be at his best attitude at the moment, a crankiness would appear at his face, on his face, and suddenly he would become very argumentative. He would come to his lowest to argue with me. He would bring out the bad in me. He would try to instigate me so that I would not tell him anything about his addiction. So this is what addiction does to an individual. It brings the worst out of them. So his or her physical, mental, social, and moral health is affected. as I said, morality of an individual is affected as well. His or her family life breaks down, financial situations deteriorate, and he or she is not able to focus. So, this is what happens when an individual is severely addicted to that. He destroys his family bonds, financial situations deteriorate. That is, if he's already in debt, the debt keeps on increasing, or the mortgage keeps on increasing because of his addictions, not paying his dues on time just to get some of the substance that he or she smokes or takes to keep themselves calm in their life. So, due to continuous and long-term consumption of addictive substances, he develops physical dependence on it and may even die due to overdose of drugs. If he tries to either reduce the dose or tries to stop the drugs, then withdrawal symptoms are created. Withdrawal symptoms are very painful and creates a threat to his life. He/she experiences tremors, loses controls over body movements, and may even die. So I know many of you have seen the movie Chore. If you guys would have seen the individual by the name of Bevra, who was also a very exceptional chess player, a very good one at it. So he had pledged not to drink until they won a certain competition in their college. So because he was a constant drinker for the past 4 to 5 years, if he stopped it suddenly, he would start trembling, he would collapse, maybe even die. So this is what addiction does to an individual, and the withdrawal symptoms are more painful than the addiction itself. So what you sow is what you reap. So this is what would happen, as we could see that the addiction caused the character in the movie to collapse, and this is a very good message that if you और I would like to translate it to हिंदी and say to you, अगर गलत आदतें पालोगे तो वो आदत आपके साथ गलत करेगी. So now we get to reading the symptoms that would occur for such addictive substances to be consumed. Symptoms: excessive consumption of drugs or alcohol, inability to reduce the dosage, intoxicated the whole day, desire to consume the substance again and again, reduction in social contacts even with friends, continued consumption even during physical illness or when it is contra- sorry contradicted. Sorry, no, there's some typo here. Contraindicated. Increase the dosage to get the same effects, etc. Are some of the symptoms of drug addiction. So, as you guys would have seen, your line has been mentioned continued consumption even during physical illness. So I know many of you individuals have seen the series Mirzapur. So in that, who was the character of Dada Tyagi, he said when he was in the womb of his parents used to take drugs oftenly. The drug's name was smack. So they used to take it every day, every hour, if I would specify, as he mentioned, even when he was in his mom's womb. So that caused him to be born with disabilities or born as a dwarf. So such things, like, even that could affect the offspring or the child that the woman who is taking drugs is bearing, and it is extremely dangerous for the child. So please be aware of this and do not do this while a child is in your womb, because that is a precious life. He or she would be mocked for it by the society. Please don't. Alcoholic Anonymous is the organization that helps an alcoholic to get rid of the habit of consuming alcohol. A very exceptional organization. This is very good organization that has taken a step to help people who are addicted to alcohol. There are two groups. One consists of present alcoholic, while second includes ex-alcoholic. An alcoholic explains to the addict how his or her life can improve if he or she gets out of his or her addiction and thus provides the emotional support. In this way, the ex-alcoholic encourages an alcoholic to get out of the dependence on alcohol. So, an alcoholic, first, the addict is supposed to talk to an alcoholic. The alcoholic describes how he or she is suffering and they try their best. And so the addict understands what they are going through and how they need to retrospect on the situation. Whereas the ex-alcoholic, now at a better stage in life, he or she explains that how it is good to feel as an ex-alcoholic, and now they feel positive again and they do not have dependency on any addictive substances. So this was our Alcoholic Anonymous, an exceptional organization. Now we move forward to our next subunit, that is unit 6.6.6, Schizophrenia. First, we'll read the example given to us so that we'll understand what we are dealing with here. And then we'll break down this example to understand what schizophrenia is, and we'll read the description given to us by our GTV. Ronnie, a 20 years old youth, joined a firm after completion of his graduation. Again, I do not understand this, how an individual is graduated by the fraternity. Soon he became popular as a hard-working and enthusiastic person, but he didn't like to intermingle with his co-workers. In few days, people started noticing the changes in him. He started remaining absent from the work. At home too, he remained quiet most of the time. He started experiencing hallucinations. He started feeling as if someone is following him. He started talking to himself and was extremely apathetic. He constantly felt that someone is talking about him and is criticizing him. He felt as if someone is planning to kill him. He was diagnosed as suffering from schizophrenia. So here we understand that an enthusiastic person who is very hardworking in life and he does not like to mix up with people too much. And suddenly after a few days, he shows up a few symptoms. He starts remaining absent from work. He stays home too much. At home as well, he's very quiet. He starts experiencing hallucinations, different hallucinations, that someone is following him, someone is at the corner of his eye. And he starts talking to himself. And he thinks someone is trying to kill him. Further, his anyone acquaintance or he himself has gone for professional help where he was diagnosed with schizophrenia. So now we understand how this term was recognized, and we learn what this term actually means. In 1911, a Swiss psychologist, Paul Eugene Bleuler, used the term schizophrenia for the first time. So just underline this, as we might be asked where is the source or what was the source for the term schizophrenia and who took it first, and there could be another MCQ by the question of when was this term released by Paul Eugene Bleuler. The term schizophrenia is made from the two terms schizen, which means split, and phren, which means mind. So splitting of mind. So the term schizophrenia means split mind. This disorder is not easily seen among children but mainly starts in the adolescence, young adulthood. In comparison, females it is found more frequently among males. Schizophrenia is a major disorder involving delusions, hallucinations, and disintegration of language, thoughts, emotions, and behavior. So from here we understand that this disorder is not actually seen in children or not easily seen in children who are lesser than the age of adolescence or young adulthood, but as they grow up, this is seen more in males as compared to females, and it is a major disorder which includes delusions, that is thinking of something that has not happened, or hallucinations, seeing objects, seeing individuals that do not exist in real life, or disintegration of language, or thoughts and emotions and behavior, various that occur randomly. So now we read the symptoms. According to the DSM-5, there are two different types of symptoms for schizophrenia. They are of two types: positive symptoms and negative symptoms. So first we'll read the positive symptoms and we'll slowly move forward to the negative symptoms, and we'll understand what schizophrenia is and how the symptoms come up. So firstly we'll start with our positive symptoms. These behaviors are an excess of an addition to the normal thoughts or behaviors of an individual. They are as follows. So they are an excess. That means they are not what actually happens. They are just constructed or materialized in an individual brain, but it does not happen in real life. So firstly, we'll see in our positive symptoms would be hallucinations. Hallucinations refer to false perceptions in the absence of stimulus. It means the individual experiences something even when there is nothing present. For example, even if there is pin drop silence and yet the individual can hear someone talking to him or her, then it is auditory hallucination. Similarly, there may be visual, tactile, related to touch, olfactory, related to smell, gustatory, related to taste, or may be related to internal sensations of the body. So, for our auditory hallucinations, I'll give you an example. If you guys would have seen a series that is by the name of Breathe, the there is a criminal who fakes that he or she has schizophrenia, where an individual is the criminal says that he or she does not identify the sound of that hallucination, auditory hallucination, whereas a psychologist is called in by the judge or the judiciary council, and the psychologist claims that or says that if a patient is suffering from schizophrenia, he or she is able to recognize the voice of a male or a female. So the story moves forward, but this is an example of how auditory hallucination works, and you guys can do your own research because this is a very interesting topic, or and such research is very valuable, and this differs from person to person, or and there are various types of hallucinations as well. So auditory hallucination, that is the sound hallucinations. They hear people, they hear different sounds. There is visual, where people see different objects or individuals or different things that they think are coming to kill them. Tactile, related to touch, where a person behaves as if someone is trying to touch him or is touching him or her. Olfactory, related to smell, where a person starts smelling something even though there is nothing there, it's an inert environment. It happens. One example would be where people are reading something or are seeing what they have previously seen before. They might remember if their parents are cooking some food around when they were reading that. So that smell gets registered. So when he or she sees that again, they remember that smell as well. So recognition or getting that smell again and again without even anything being there, or something like the taste being the taste recognized again and again would be related to the internal sensations of the body. So this was our hallucinations, a part of our positive symptoms. Then we move forward to delusions. Delusion occurs when an individual has a belief which is false, but the individual is not ready to change it in spite of clear evidence contrary to it. For example, this belief that somebody is conspiring to kill me even when there is no one who is making such plans. So this is more of a red flag or an indicator that shows that a person is having any issues. That's why it's a positive symptom where he or she thinks that someone is trying to do something to them or something, some plot is being uh, planned, but it is not happening in any other way. So this is thinking of something that is never going to exist or does not exist at the moment. Then we move forward to our third positive symptom, that is disorganized speech and loosening of association. The individual's talk is unrelated to each other. Like he or she may use useless word or may jump from one point to another, which has no connection to the first. So this is where a person uses unrelatable words and connects different topics to what is currently being discussed. Whereas, just imagine if I'm talking to a friend of mine. Let's think of him as Ram. So Dev is talking to Ram, and Dev is currently showing symptoms where Ram is asking me that how did my examination go, and I tell him that my cycle is broken or my tire is punctured. That is completely unrelated. Or I am using unrelated words where I am telling he he tells me good morning Dave, and I tell him have a good night and sweet dreams. So this is what unrelated topics are discussed and jumping from one point to another, which have no connection to the first, where the person is asking, Ram is asking me about how my exam went, and I ask him about, or I tell him about my cycle breaking down or my cycle's tire getting punctured. So this is what disorganized speech or loosening of association is. Then we move forward to fourth positive symptom, that is disorganized behavior or bizarre movements. The individual behaves in a very strange manner, like doing the same acts for hours together, screaming without reason, running here and there without any purpose, attacking or biting someone, undressing clothes in public places, etc. So here we'll understand what disorganized behavior is. So a person just behaves completely off topic or what do you call it, deranged, where the person is doing the same thing for hours and hours. If a person is washing the patient is washing utensils, they'll be washing the same utensil for hours to go. They'll be rubbing the soap in the same space where where they originally started. They'll scream without reason. They'll act out. They'll run anywhere they can. They'll just act very spontaneous and without any purpose. They'll start attacking or biting anyone around them. Or they'll just flash out in public. They'll undress their clothes and etc. There are many behaviors that are seen in such positive symptoms. Then we move forward to our next symptom, that is our fifth symptom, incongruent affect. Here the emotions expressed by the individual does not match with the situations. For example, the individual cries in happy occasions and laughs in sad occasions. So if you guys would have seen the newer Joker movie, the person laughs at every small thing at random moments of life. So that would be an example where a person is, if someone is talking on a serious topic, he would simply start laughing without any reason. or yeah, again given your cries at happy occasions, or if a person is wishing you on your birthday, you act out and you are very angry about it. You start acting aggressive, you beat up the person. That is what incongruent affect would show. Then we move forward to the next type of symptom, that is negative symptoms that would come up in a suspective patient. Negative symptoms lead to low levels of functioning, and so the quality of the life deteriorates. Generally, negative symptoms of schizophrenia does not improve much with treatment. They are diminished emotional expressions, lack of initiative or enthusiasm, diminished and reduced speech, anhedonia, no experience of deep positive emotions, asocial, and apathy. So we have six negative symptoms to given to us, where the first four are self-explanatory. The fifth and sixth are asocial and apathy. Asocial means avoiding social interaction. Just uh, make an arrow and write it in your textbook. Asocial is avoiding social interaction, and apathy is a feeling of nothing interesting about anything, or loss of enthusiasm in an individual. So if you guys wouldn't have got that, just pause, rewind, and note it down quickly, because this might be asked. What answer in one sentence? What does asocial mean? What does apathy mean? What does apathetic mean? That was given to us in the example for schizophrenia. Sometimes both positive as well as negative symptoms can be seen in schizophrenia patients. If positive symptoms are seen for 1 month or longer, or if negative symptoms are seen for more than 6 months, the person is diagnosed with schizophrenia. Of course, if you see any symptoms in your colleagues, yourself, or your acquaintances, or your family, just suggest professional help, or call someone who is a professional in such aspects and gain experience about how they could mend the situation and how a person could be cured of schizophrenia. The movie A Beautiful Mind is on John Nash, a mathematician who was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, and how he copes with the disorder. In 1994, he was awarded Nobel Prize for Game Theory. Watch the movie and discuss this with friends. This is a beautiful movie again. I've seen it, and this is worth watching. So you would be able to find it on any of the OTT platforms, or you can just download it from somewhere. Uh, then we move forward to our next unit. I hope you would have understood what we had learned in our unit 6.6. I know it was a very big unit. This unit itself took us 2 parts to complete. So if you have any doubts pertaining the topics taught in this unit, you can contact me on Telegram via the link given in the description for our group for doubts. In the main group itself, we are 50 people strong, and we have on our channel on Telegram, we are 85 subscribers strong, where we move forward as doubts are asked, and if the doubts are longer or need much explanation, or an audio or voice note is dropped in the group, so that much broader aspect can be covered for the topic that has doubts in it. So this was our unit 6.6. We move forward to our unit 6.7, identifying and treating psychological disorders. So far we have tried to understand a few of psychological disorders. After this understanding, few questions inevitably pop up in our mind. One such question is whether there are any ways you can easily identify people with mental disorders at an early stage. The answer to this question is yes. These are a few signaling signs that can help one to identify individuals who may require help of an expert in mental health. These are called red flags, as I mentioned it earlier, red flags for various disorders are generally used to identify people in need of professional help. So now we understand that what red flags are, or what is the function of red flags. Now we'll understand what sort of exceptions are there in red flags and what are their names. So there's an activity given here, activity number 9. Identify from the internet the red flags that are the signaling symptoms for various disorders that you have already studied. So the disorders that are bipolar disorder, that is also called manic depressive disorder. Then we can study the different stress related disorders that are ASD and PTSD, and different as we move forward. If you carefully study all the symptoms of various disorders, you will realize there are many symptoms which are common among many disorders. So you can form little Venn diagrams that would show that which are common and which show common red flags in it. So if you find such symptoms in any individual, find out if it satisfies these three requirements. So there are three requirements here that should be mentioned. The first is it should be for a considerably long period of time. Second, find if symptom has become more severe or serious over a period of time. Lastly, and find if the symptom has created any problems in the life of an individual or not. So retrospecting on these three pointers or three requirements that are specified for disorders, this is how a disorder can be rectified, or for a layman be found in an individual. So if the answer for all three is affirmative, it is likely that the sign indicates the beginning or existence of psychological health problem. Keeping all these considerations in mind, study the signals indicating need for professional help given below. Now we'll study the signals that are important, or the red flags to be more informative about it. So the signals indicating the need for professional help are, the first one being inability to concentrate, inability to sleep well, various physical complaints, uncontrollable and frequent bad thoughts, too intense, uncontrollable negative feelings that are fear, anger, sadness, worrying, etc., severe confusion, memory loss, loss of interest in activities and friends, odd or irrational statements or strange use of words or way of speaking, self-harm, and signal of self-neglection. These are the red flags that would come up in an individual that are signaling to the individual to have the attention of professional help. Another question that immediately follows once you have identified the individual in need of professional help is whether they are any ways such individual can lead a normal life again. Fortunately, the answer to this question is also affirmatively yes. There are various treatment modalities that can be helpful for different disorders. These treatment strategies range from pharmacotherapy, that is the use of drugs to cure an individual, or various psychotherapeutic techniques like rational emotive behavior therapy. So let's understand what rational emotive behavior therapy is. This helps in, just note down as I'm saying it, this helps in identifying irrational beliefs and the negative thoughts that bring up such negative, what do you call it, the reactions in an individual. So this was rational emotive behavior therapy. Then we move forward to our next therapy, that is humanistic therapy. This shows, or this is a cure for schizophrenia, depression, and various anxiety attacks that appear frequently. This was our humanistic therapy. Then we move forward to Gestalt therapy. This is to make an individual more aware of what is happening around him, and what is happening to him, so that he can retrospect on that point that is wrong with him or her. Then we move forward to interpersonal psychotherapy. This is for individuals that are having issues with relationships and other people, that include their family members and their colleagues at work and different acquaintances and their bosses as well. So this is what is the function of an interpersonal psychotherapy. And the next sort of therapy is our family and couple therapy. This therapy is done under the guidance of a trained psychologist, or an individual is invited to an intervention kept by the family and his or her loved ones. So this was our family and couple therapy, and there are etc. or ample of therapies that are not mentioned in the GTB. So etc. is mentioned there. It is beyond the scope of this book to narrate them all, even in a nutshell, given here as well. But one note of caution needs to be mentioned here. If you find any individual having benefited with one type of therapy, it does not necessarily mean that the other individual is also benefited with the same therapy. One must keep in mind several factors and considerations before deciding the line of treatment. This can be best done by an expert in the field. So the best thing is to seek out professional and get the required help. It is rightly said, having a mental disorder isn't easy. It is even harder to accept. Yes, I am ill. The hardest of all is when people assume you can get over it. The fact is, you cannot automatically just get over it. You just need to work towards the right path to be able to get over it. That is requirement of professional help if it is not comfortable enough for you to do it. Healing is not automatic. It is just a journey that needs to be trodden. Or a simpler meaning would be a journey that needs for you to take a stand or act on it ASAP with utter confidence, and keep the aim as you to be healed as a person and having null psychological disorders and a healthy life. So this was our chapter 6, and further in our book we have the summary of our chapter that will give us a broader overview of what we have learned in this chapter and the important concepts that will be which are most susceptible to be asked in your examination, and the name of the important psychologists that have had the most contribution in the psychological disorders mentioned in our textbook. And then we have the exercise. So we have successfully completed the 6 chapters out of 8 chapters in psychology as well. So now we have only 2 chapters left, that are positive psychology, that is our chapter number 8, and our chapter number 7, that is first aid in mental health. So these are our chapters. Chapter 7 is a little big, but positive psychology will be over in our views, and it is easier to understand as well. First aid in mental health needs a little work, but again it is easy as well, so not much of effort will be needed. Just a simple understanding and you guys will ace it. So thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe this video, as every subscription or every like matters. And if you have any doubts, again the topics taught in this video or topics taught in previous videos, you can contact me on Telegram via the link given in the description. And if you want to support the channel, you can follow me on Patreon via another link given in the description just below the Telegram link. And if you want to see the playlists for the different chapters or the different exercise solutions that have been uploaded on this channel, you can just drop down to the description or see the latest video at the time, and you will find the different links of the videos. And if you want to know how much syllabus has been reduced or what is the paper pattern, singular videos have been made on either of these for both IT and psychology. You'll find them as well in the channel the channel videos part, and in the popular uploads as well, where our highest viewed video is the reduced syllabus for psychology. So you can use that as well, and we'll move further to completing the exercise for this chapter in our next part, and then we start with our chapter 7 after completing this exercise by day after tomorrow, or by, let me see the calendar, today is 23rd, right? So at the time of the recording it's 23rd November. So I'll drop a video for the chapter 1 by 26th of November, and we'll move forward from there. The exercise video will be shortly uploaded after this video, so you guys don't need to worry about that, and you guys just need to study. My contribution to you guys is just to educate you guys, because there are not many colleges that bring out faculties for psychology. They just keep it for self-study. So it would be much helpful for you guys to see these videos. There are many other videos as well. If you're not comfortable with them or us or this channel, you guys can contact me on Telegram. You can drop DMs as well if you do not want to put your doubts on the public platform or the public group, and your doubts will be cleared. As I've cleared the doubts of at least all of the students that have joined and asked their doubts, and have been vocal about their doubts in the group. So you guys are most welcome as well, who are the viewers of this video. So thank you again for your support. We are going to be reaching our 500 subscriber goal by next month, and we successfully hope that you guys will stay along with us and help us create much better videos and give us suggestions on how we can retrospect on what we do. And you guys can just drop any suggestions in the comment below. So again, thank you for your support. Please like, share and subscribe. Stay safe, and most importantly, take care of yourself, as you matter.